I appreciate it. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to our Cultivate Advisors CEO webinar. If you've joined us before, welcome back. We love to see you. If it's your first time joining, we do these every single month. It's a quick skill topic on one of our core business hats: marketing, sales, leadership, productivity, recruiting, and so on. And we try and pick a topic that's applicable both for those that are just starting out in their business journey and those that are a little bit further along in their entrepreneurial journey as well. So today we are talking about making your website a sales engine. So I'm going to start to dive in here. Keep using the chat. Cultivate Advisors crew, welcome everybody to the chat and help guide them along if they have questions along the way. So we've got a jam-packed session in here today. Really excited here. My name is Vince Carone. I'm the Director of Content Development. If you are a Cultivate client, you've seen in the back-end portal a lot of our training content that comes from me based on your feedback and your suggestions and ideas. So we appreciate you sharing along the way. The reason we're here today talking about making your website a sales engine is really to attract more clients. How do we use it as this engine to bring in more prospects and convert them to clients? So walking out of this session today, we want to be able to assess your website and understand, is it working like a sales funnel, and being honest with ourselves in that assessment. And then two, we want to be able to identify the components that you need to help build that messaging to make it a sales funnel in an effort and in pursuit of gaining more clients. So walking out of here, what you can get is start to know who you're speaking to through your website, the personas, sharing the benefit that solves specific problems, and the start of creating your customer journey. And so before I bring in the expert to talk about this skill with you today, I just want to do a little bit of expectation setting up front that this is a broad skill and there are a variety of ways to accomplish what we are talking about in here today. And we certainly have some clients and some other people on this call today who are experts in this field. So when we share this today, it is not to diminish any of what you do for a living. We want your feedback, but what we don't want to do is we don't want to black hat any ideas in here today, meaning we don't want to talk negative about anything we're sharing, because we worked hard to take a complicated topic and simplify it. So if you are an expert in this field, please share your advice as well. It's strongly encouraged and strongly welcomed, and also share it in our community. But let's also allow those that are just at the beginning phases of this process to take in some oversimplification of ideas and start to work them in. And I do have a worksheet that I'm going to drop into the chat here shortly. Download the worksheet and our expert will help walk you through the starting of this process today. So there's a Q&A function as well. You can put your questions in there and the audience can vote the question up. So if we have time for Q&A at the end, we'll make sure that we answer those and use the chat feature along the way as well. So our agenda in here today, we're going to talk about picturing your audience, your ideal customer, talking about the benefit to your audience, moving into how to use your homepage as a sales funnel, and then we'll save some time for takeaways and wrap up. And then after that, we're going to move into roundtables. For those of you that can stick around afterwards, move into a roundtable where our expert today will give you the next steps on what to talk about at that roundtable and how to share some of the concepts and ideas that you start in here today to get some feedback and action items on those. So without further ado, Nancy, why don't you join me here on the stage? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours as you come. Nancy Benjamin is a marketing strategist and business advisor here at Cultivate Advisors. Nancy, welcome. I appreciate it. I'll give you a chance to share your screen here. But Nancy has a thorough background that she's going to talk to you about in this space and topic. And she put together a great presentation in here today to walk you through 3 quick steps that help guide you and get you moving in the right direction if you don't have expertise in this, but also help carry you to the next step or re-examine where you're at in case you kind of set up the webpage and just moved on, like a lot of us do when we're starting a business. So without further ado, Nancy, take it away. Call me back to the stage if you need me. Otherwise, the floor is yours.
Okay, sounds great. Hello, everybody, and welcome. And like Vince says, I know we've got a lot of different expertise on here. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, too, as a marketing strategist, business advisor, and entrepreneur. This is why I'm giving this session. A lot of the problem is, if you think you know how a website works, I'm going to show you some basic rules so that your website will work the way a virtual salesperson should work. A lot of people just don't realize that there is so much more your website can do, and that the message is really the key, right? You want to say it just the way a salesperson is going to say it. It's really your stand-in for yourself digitally, right? So SEO, social media, advertising, they're all important, but obviously they all lead right to your website. So if your website doesn't help convert, then your sales are kind of going to stop there. So that's the reason why we're taking this extra time today to show you how to make your messaging more effective. And one of the things that I found is businesses big and small, whether you're 100,000 or 60 million, a lot of times are not doing this piece of the puzzle right. So when you walk out of here, here's what I want you to remember, these three major takeaways. And as Vince said, some of this will be familiar to some of you it won't. But basically, you always need to know your audience, and the data should tell you who they are, and then you should define them in detail so you know who you're talking to, so you can set up kind of a conversation just like you would be talking to a friend. You want to tell the story of the benefit. For a lot of people, this is the hardest part, to distill everything that's wonderful about your product or service down into what is the benefit to the prospect, not just a definition of who you are, but why should they bother? Why is that feature important for them? What problem does that solve? And then we're going to follow the sales funnel on the homepage for your website. That is also something that doesn't happen, and a lot of that is just logical. It's the AIDA formula: awareness, interest, desire, action. And it's just the way you buy things. And if any of this is new to any of you, don't worry about it, because we are going to go through it in detail. So first, a little bit about me and my background and how I came to even be leading any of this. I started out as a copywriter and then a brand strategist for more than 17 national brands and startups that I rolled out with a lot of the big agencies like Della Femina and Euro RSCG. And then became my own entrepreneur and owner of an international import company for 24 years, and then sold it. So obviously did a fair of marketing on that account as well. And then obviously now I am a business growth advisor for Cultivate Advisors for small businesses and startups. And the other thing I always like to tell people about myself is I am a big traveler. I've gotten to about 100 countries so far, and I'm just going to keep going. So any travel tips you need too, I can help you with some of that. So that's great. Okay. Most websites, the problem that we have is that they just don't sell. They are just definitions of who you are and not what you do. Please don't do that. You're not maximizing what you can do with a website. You're not making it effective. And no matter how many ads you have that lead you to that, they're not going to be effective unless you really have a grasp of what you're doing. Okay, so picture your audience is the first principal rule. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of personas. Those in digital advertising obviously practice this every day. But why do we care about your audience? Because a persona, or your target audience, one of your target audiences, is a person created with the traits, thoughts, and interests that mirror the person you want to sell to, right? Very important that you can picture this person and know what you want this person to look like, so you can really have a conversation with this person in your audience, right? So think of your website like a conversation. Let's figure out who we're talking to. This is really the first step you have to do when you're exploring what to do with your website. So, how many distinct types of people buy your product or service? I want you to focus on three audiences. For a lot of us, we could have many different types of people that buy our product or service, but let's focus on 3, because the chances that your messaging or your advertising could focus on more than that is remote too. So let's pick your principal audiences and let's focus on them. How do you create a persona? Well, one of the things you want to really dig into is what matters to them. Think of it like you're creating a character, right? You want to know what their age is, their gender, their identity, their marital status, how many kids they have, what their job title is, their income, their education. That's their demographics. You want to know their psychographics, what they're interested in, right? What their character is like, what their values, their social activities, right? What might be the problem they're trying to solve, their motivations, their frustrations, their pain points. And then you want to know where they live, their geography, their geographics. Are they rural or urban? Are they from a specific area? It could even get down to the zip code. Now, why do we want to know all of this? Because you want to build out a fully fleshed out person. You're not going to talk to a 20-something person right out of the college the same way you would talk to a 70-year-old retiree, right? And your advertising or your messaging shouldn't do this either. So you want to make sure that you're aligned and you're communicating to somebody in that way. This is a little worksheet that we have for you. This is Vince as a content developer, and this is his persona. So this is an example of how you can flesh out this worksheet to determine who is this person that we're talking to. He's a male, 38 years old, married, content developer, mid-range income, right? What's his background? Very importantly, what are his motivations, right? Why does he want to be doing this job? And what are some of his frustrations that you can appeal to? What kind of problems you're going to be solving, right? Some of his previous experience, what kind of a quote encapsulates who he is as a person, right? And what are his expectations? And then where does he live? These days, it's what kind of social platforms you're on, what kind of technology you own or use. Some people are high tech or low tech. Some people spend more time on a laptop or desktop. Some people spend more time on a mobile. And then where are the other sources that you can reach him? Even though we live in a digital age, we don't want to forget about magazines, who knows, church bulletins, emails, what kind of books they read. This is what gives you a full idea of who this person is. And extra bonus, as a lot of you in advertising know, this is also some of the ways that we create audiences when we're doing paid advertising, so we know exactly who to target. So we're finding the people who would be your most likely to buy clients. So, as Vince promised, we're going to go to a worksheet for creating your user persona. So we want you to define who your ideal customer is so you can better understand what matters to them and start this conversation. Know how to frame your messaging about the benefits of your product so it hits home for that person. So I want you to take a few minutes and just start on this right now so that you can think about, okay, what are the demographics? And as we've done in this cheat sheet, age, gender, marital status, whether or not they have kids, what level of job they're in, their education, their income, psychographics, all about their interests, their motivations, their frustrations, their pain points, and geographic. Where do they live? Are they rural? Are they urban? Is it a very pinpointed area? Let's take a second or two and flesh that out. And I will look in the chat if you guys have any questions about this. I think I can get to the chat from here. It's 12:15 now. We'll just take a little time and walk through some of this. As Vince said, you should be able to download that worksheet that's in the chat and start going a little bit on your persona so that we know what you need here. Just a little more time to get started. Oops, sorry, skipping ahead to the benefit to your audience. So I hope some of you have been able to fill out a little bit about your persona. We can get into that in a little more depth in the roundtables, so don't worry. But this is your starter kit for getting started to make your website really sing and make it be able to sell to your audience. So that's number one. Know who you're talking to so you can have a real conversation and hit what resonates with them. Number two is you've really got to distill down what the benefit is of your product or your service to your audience. What are you bringing to the table? When you tell people what you can do, does it pass the so what test? Does it pass the why should I care test? What's the benefit of your product or service, right? In order to do that, you absolutely have to know the problem and then be the solution to that problem, right? So I want you to give some thought as to what problem you're solving for your target audience. Are you targeting a younger audience who cares greatly about convenience? So if you can make their life more fast, more automated, and more convenient, that's what the problem is that they're trying to solve. And you've got a system to do that. Then you know what your benefit is for your audience. I'm going to give you a few examples of how people message at the top of their website pages. And we're going to go through bad, better, and best so that you have examples of how to hone down your messaging. This page, Rodan Builders, is just lazy, right? Empowering people, building our future. What does that mean? I don't even know what these guys do, except that gentleman's wearing a hard hat and the logo gives you an inclination of what they do. They're obviously builders. My feeling is they've gotten a little big and lazy. Empowering people and building our future. I have zero reason why I would want to click that contact button now. It's not selling me. It's not resonating me. Am I coming to a builder's page thinking, oh, I want to empower people and build my future? No. I'm coming to a builder's page, maybe thinking I want expert project management in a very specialized area. They're not really appealing to why somebody would buy into this big builder. So this is a bad example of messaging and trying to show any kind of benefit at the top of the page. It just doesn't give me a benefit. Here's a better example. Building distinctive new homes in Northern Colorado. Well, they've already defined their audience a little bit. These are for people who want distinctive new homes. So that segments it down further in a specific geographical area, Northern Colorado. Extra bonus for those of you who know it. Obviously, this helps their SEO or their ranking in a Google search because they're going to rank for new homes in Northern Colorado as well. So they are promising a benefit for somebody who is looking especially to this, and they know who their audience is. This is a discerning clientele who wants something distinctive in this specific area, new home. So that helps resonate with the audience. It's a good message to help bring it all home. Then you've got this page, and whether or not you're in love with the design, think of what this is doing in terms of messaging. It's just siding and roofing. It's almost a commodity product, but they've tapped into why somebody might care about good siding and roofing. They've tapped into the subtext of what matters to them. You want to protect your family or your home. They're obviously appealing to the size of homeowners with families so that it's a decent size house. And they mention that it's durable, beautiful siding. And this is the way that you're going to accomplish this. And they assume that you might want to just jump right in and get a free quote. Kudos to them also for showing their credentials at the bottom. So not only are they saying you could do all of this with their product, but they're also showing you that they're totally legit and rated well. So you're not going to hesitate to use their product. So what kind of benefit are you providing? Right? They could have said, hey, seal your home like nobody else can. with our durable, beautiful siding, and that would be okay too, but they wanted to tap into the emotional element. So this is a better use of messaging at the top of the page. So once again, when you're figuring out your messaging, think about what you do for your audience, and it should be crystal clear. One of the things that I like to do is do a 2-second test. So make a flashcard or show a website mock-up of your headline or subhead to a stranger who doesn't know your company, doesn't know what you do, and ask what their takeaway is. There should really only be one takeaway. You only want them to get one main thing from the benefit to them of the features of your business. But that's a good way to test it. And we can also do some of that in our roundtables as well. So once again, this is the next segment of your worksheet. Think about that benefit. You know who your audience is. We've already defined them. Now, what is the problem or some of the main problems that that audience has? Just like that roofer, they're worried about keeping their home and their family secure. They don't want to deal with mold, whatever that is. Now, explain your benefit. Explain why you're better at solving that problem than other people. It is 12:23, and I'm going to give you a minute or so on this to get started. So if you want later to pop into the roundtables, we can go over some of this, or at least you're going to walk out of this webinar with a solid explanation and an outline of how you can go forward for your website. So think about the problem that your audience has that you solve and how you do that better than anybody. Once again, if you have any questions that you want to throw in the chat, I will take a look at that. But this is obviously on your fillable worksheet. Speaking would be helpful. Okay, do some of you have a starter version of your benefit and how you solve the problem? Don't forget, don't just do a dictionary definition of what you do. Don't just say, we clean carpets with a steaming service, right? Tell people why that matters to them, okay? Here are some examples. Your new temp agency that's not a temp agency. Find great gig workers with a simple app. Partly what's implied there is that temp agencies fail people, and this is how we help you. We help you find great gig workers just simply, right? Most people don't do that. They work in the old school method. Oops, sorry. Here is a clean carpet example. Not only have they got this great domain, wecleancarpet.com, which is helpful, as Reva will tell you, for their SEO, but also they say powerful residue-free steam cleaning at affordable prices. So what are they solving for the client? This is not going to leave any gunk in your carpet, and it's going to be affordable. They're telling people what the definite benefit is and what their niche is. They want the folks who might just pay per room. They don't have to do a whole house, and they're going to be affordable doing that. So think about a strong, specific message and a benefit you can provide for your audience. Okay, number 3. This is the third part in the triad here. Use your homepage as a sales funnel. I want you to all think about how you buy, right? This is that AIDA that I'm sure a lot of you have heard or know about a little bit. First, somebody has to be aware of your brand. then take an interest and evaluate it. Then you have to foment a desire, get that emotional buy-in where people are like, oh yeah, I think I want to do this, so that they take action, so that they move to a sale. Now, this can seem a little rhetorical, so let's break it down a little bit, okay? When somebody does a search or is referred to you from word of mouth or comes in because of an ad or sees your social media, this is part of the brand awareness piece of the puzzle. This is what makes them aware of you. So let's say they've gotten to you from a Google search. They've put in carpet cleaners or something like that, right? Then what would you do if you're looking for a carpet cleaner? You would see the Google search, what we call SERP, search engine result pages, right? Those little listings on a Google search. And you would say, I'm going to check out these top 5 and see if I'm interested. So when they hit your website, they're like, am I interested or am I not interested? And how do you stack up to others? So your benefits and what we call above the fold, and that's where your website lands without anybody scrolling down, that first screen that appears, your benefit to them has got to grab their interest. So like that carpet cleaning ad, if you say, residue free and affordable, they're like, wow, I'm going to put those people at the top of my list. The website made me interested, and I'm evaluating them against others, and I'm thinking they might be the cheapest option out there. I'm truly interested. So then how do you take them past that interest and evaluation stage to the desire stage, where they're getting that emotional buy-in? How do you let them to get over that natural inclination not to move forward, right? Oh, this is going to be a hassle, right? One of the easiest ways to do this is the good old-fashioned demo, and sometimes that's written. It is the 1, 2, 3 process. It's what lets your customers see how easy your product or service is, and therefore promotes the desire, right? They're going to say, oh, if it just works like this, that doesn't seem that difficult. Okay, I'm bought in, and then I'm going to take action. I'm going to buy, or I'm going to pick up the phone, or I'm going to schedule an appointment, whatever that next action is. So I hope this is clear to everybody about the awareness. Landing on your website, you want to get their interest, speak to them about what matters, solve that pain point so that they're evaluating you against others and you come out at the top, and then show them how easy it is so you eliminate their resistance to taking action. Here's an example. I'm going to give you examples, so this is not just all in theory, right? You want to note in this example how you know exactly what the problem is that these folks solve, okay? And you're going to see that you know the benefit immediately from their message above the fold. And then they're going to back this up with their credentials, and they're going to use a call to action, a CTA, for those of you who don't know about it. And what a call to action is it asks for the sale, basically, or it asks you to take the next step. You have to tell people, okay, pull the trigger, right? Then they show the easy steps, the 1, 2, 3 about it. And then they back it up again as a way to overcome any objections people might have to moving forward. So here's an example for you. Here's that screen above the fold. That's the screen you see without scrolling down when you land on a website. You click on that Google search result and you see this. This is a company called Cleverly. I actually cut off the top, so sorry about that. But anyway, scale your leads on LinkedIn and predictively drive more revenue, 100% done for you. I hope we're in agreement that there is no question about what these guys do. They're scaling leads on LinkedIn so that you can get more money in the door, right? And the benefit is not only are they helping you to scale it, but it's all done for you. This isn't one of these things where you need to spend hours doing it. It's automated, right? So very clear message about what they do and how it benefits you. You're going to get more revenue, and it's all taken care of. And then they reinforce this with their next message. Cleverly uses data from thousands of outbound B2B campaigns to send proven personalized messages to your dream clients on LinkedIn, getting positive responses straight to your inbox. Think of how well they know their audience in this piece. They're telling you, we're doing this by using data from thousands of campaigns. So this is legitimate, proven technique, right? And then they're sending proven and personalized messages. So this is not just a template format. They're making it custom. That's appealing to somebody who says, oh, you're just going to spam some people, right? Not only that, they're telling you they've niched it down. So they're only going to be talking to your dream clients. So that might be another pain point of somebody who's thinking of automating their LinkedIn outreach. And what have they told you here? They've told you the result is going to be positive, and it's going to be right where you can grab them. Positive responses straight to your inbox. And then they've reinforced this. They've got 400 five-star client reviews. Personally, I would say where those client reviews are, but hey, it's a start. Free consultation is their CTA button, their call to action. They've told you exactly what they do, why they're special, why it's good for you. Here are our credentials. Just click this button. Let's do this, right? That's for your quick adopters above the fold. And then they've taken the McDonald's route of how many served. But once again, this reinforces their legitimacy. It tells you that they've done this for tons of clients and they've made them a lot of money. This is a good company to go with, right? So see how effective they are at driving that message above the fold. Then they've given you more credentials. And remember when we talk about the 1, 2, 3 process, how easy it is? Well, they've done it by video. Check this out, how step-by-step we just get you more leads. A lot of these videos are only a minute to maximum 3 minutes long. They just tell you simply and easily how easy this is. And then they've also done it in writing. They've told you 1, you're building targeted and qualified lists. 2, we're writing clear and personal messages. 3, they're sending them out. And 4, you get this lovely result, which is always a good thing to have at the very end, the lovely result. So people say, oh, I've got that emotional buy-in that I was talking about. I'm ready to go. And of course, they've given you another CTA, another call to action here. So now that you've got that emotional buy-in, you're ready to act. That AIDA, awareness, interest, and evaluation. You've evaluated it. You've seen how easy it is. You're ready to take action. They've given you one more shot. If you've gotten all the way down this page and you haven't acted yet, here's where they're going to try to overcome some more objections. They're basically saying, not sure yet? Well, here are some other wonderful things about us. Made up your mind now? Here's our transparent pricing. So this is an example of that sales flow. You've got all the information you need. The benefit to you is super clear. They've showed you how easy the process is. They've given you more reasons to join up and even made their pricing really transparent. Why would you hesitate to buy, right? That's how you make your website like a sales engine, knowing the pain points of that audience, the problem you're solving, speaking directly to them about things that matter, and then using this flow in terms of making it like a sales engine. So to recap this, number 1, note how you know exactly what problem they solve. You know the benefit immediately. You don't have to make several steps and think, oh, what are they trying to tell me about why this is good for me? They're telling you right up front why this matters. They back it with their credentials. They use a call to action, actually several throughout the pages. They show the easy steps and they back it up again in case you're hesitating. So that's how you make your website a sales engine and overcome any of those objections that people might have. So here is that outline, and we can go over that once again in our roundtables. But if nothing else, you have this to take back with you to say, does my website meet these standards? Am I leading with a benefit that's a solution to the problem of my audience, and then backing with that with some credentials? Are my features listed as a benefit? And you can list them in more detail. You could say, streamline operation system to save you time. That's the way you make that feature a benefit. And you might have several bullet points listing those features as benefits in more detail. And then you're going to show the ease of the process, how it works, what steps will get you going. And then back up what you say with testimonials as well. After the 1, 2, 3, saying, hey, don't take our word for it. Trust these people and what they have to say about our service. It's been life transforming. Then you're going to overcome objections, more reason to ask, further credentials, or even what you'll lose if you don't take action now. And then you have your final call to action. You're convincing somebody to buy because you've done all the things to move that sales forward. So that is that worksheet that'll get you on your feet to outlining your website the right way. So next, wondering if you have any questions, and I'm going to throw this back to Vince as well.
Thanks, Nancy. Hang out here with me for a second. I'm gonna pull some feedback and questions from everybody here. So let me just get the screen going. First of all, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it. Again, Nancy Benjamin, business advisor, marketing strategist. So walking us through, just recapping here, making your website a sales engine. So start out, understand who you're speaking to, understand that persona, start to fill out that sheet up top. Some of you put some effort into that right now. And again, it's not easy, but that's the work that pays off later. So spend some time on that part of the worksheet. Next, share the benefit that solves a specific problem or solves specific problems. And then from there, create your customer journey. So we're gonna keep walking through that as we move into our roundtables here shortly. But I want to hear about some takeaways. So drop in the chat 1 or 2 things that you never want to forget that Nancy was able to share with us. And I recapped a few of them on the right side there. But what's sticking with you today coming out of this webinar? Yep, the website's a definition of who we are as a business. The landing page message, to get people's attention, using credentials as backing up in a simple process. Communicate the things you do as benefits. Know your audience, right? It's such a simple one, but am I just trying to appeal to everybody, or do I have like a target audience that I should be trying to appeal to? Using value and emotion, how you can overcome objections right there on your site. It's a great one. Nancy did a great job presenting how to understand the customer journey. Nice, simply and clear there. Have your website be your virtual salesperson, not just a bulletin board, right? Always listen to Nancy. Number 1 on our list, of course.
Thanks, Jay.
What Tina said, yep. All right, great takeaways. Keep popping them in there. Nancy, I want you to hang out here because if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll share it on the stage here and let you answer. So again, it doesn't matter if Nancy covered it or not on this. If you have a question in general, if we can answer it, we'd love to answer it before we move people off into roundtables. So we'll give it a moment or two. Feel free to type it up if you want more clarity on anything. If there's any definitions that we didn't understand along the way. Sometimes we try and slow down and make sure we cover everything, but sometimes we speed through some stuff. So feel free to ask anything. We'll give it a moment or two. And Nancy, you and I will sit here in this awkward moment hoping people ask questions, and if they don't, that's okay. All right, so we have one here. Let me show it up on the stage here. If you have 2 target audiences, how do you handle the homepage focus?
That is a very good question, and there are a few ways to do that. Sometimes it depends if one audience is more important to you than another. I just did a construction owner's website, and he appeals both to the architects and the end customer, because a lot of times he's a partner with architects, but obviously he ultimately wants to sell his quality work to the end customer. In that instance, selling his quality work is paramount. So while he has a tab for architects, if he makes that pitch well enough to the end user, that's appealing to the architects as well, right? Sometimes you want to do a two-button approach where you might have two options. Here's the benefit that we provide. Here's the one for the homeowner, and here's the one for the architect. So you can make that choice right there on your homepage to segment off your audience. So there are a few different ways to go about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Nancy. We have another one here. From your point of view, what works best on a landing page, words or video?
Haha. Well, video is king anymore, right? It usually has a lot of engagement, because just think, rather than sitting there reading something, especially on your phone, you can just click on something and hear it. And a lot of times you'll even see the words running underneath in case they have the audio off. Video gets more engagement, hands down. And it's very convincing, because it's just like me talking to you here, right? As opposed to you having to read something as though it were a book. But I also think it's a good idea to reinforce both, because you never know how somebody is reading something, how much time, what their attention is like. So you can do something just like Cleverly did. Here's a video if you want to see our 1, 2, 3 that way, or here it is right on the page if you're just skimming through and want to see it fast. So a lot of times some duplication in that is good. Leo Burnett always used to say, sing it, see it, say it. So that's the idea, is to hammer it home.
Great. Yep. Words on videos as well. Yeah. Use the caption piece as well. That way, if people that aren't in a position to hear it audibly, they can read it along the way as well.
Yeah.
Any other?
As Melissa said, not only is YouTube one of the biggest channels, but it's owned by Google. So they have a lot of what we call domain authority. You got something on YouTube, you've raised your rank, basically.
Great. Any other questions quickly for Nancy here? We'll give it one more minute just to allow anybody the chance to type. All right, awesome. Well, Nancy, we appreciate it. Thank you for taking time today to share your wisdom with us. And feel free to reach out if there's any questions that come up afterwards, everyone. We'll make sure that we get them in front of Nancy or somebody else to be able to answer for you. Nancy, you can exit the stage when you're ready, and I'll just wrap up before I throw everybody to the roundtables. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you, Vince.
All right. So again, as far as taking this to the next step today, whether you think of questions afterwards or just didn't want to ask it now, your advisors have both access to Nancy, but also access to these skills as well. So if this is something you want to continue the conversation on, make sure you add it to your roadmap. Ask your advisor, hey, when do we get to talk about this? How does this fit into our current plan? And get some next steps and action items on that there. If you want to watch this again and kind of slow down and go back to certain points, you can always see all of our webinars again in the community. Go to our courses section, and we have one that says CEO webinars with all of our previous webinars dating back, I believe, to 2018. So I literally got an email right before today that said, what you guys should do is record your webinars and put them somewhere where we can all go back in case we can't make it. It's a great idea. We're ahead of that. It's already in our community in the courses page as well. So make sure you go back, and we have additional resources and some bonus content that'll be emailed out to you from this webinar, where Nancy has a follow-up 10-minute video on the next steps you can do if this is something you're super interested about as well. Our next webinar, August 19th, is going to be on effective meetings, getting an ROI on every meeting you have, whether it's a sales meeting, a leadership meeting, or somewhere in between. That is August 19th. It will be led by business advisor Colin Bowman, who is an expert in this field. So we're looking forward to that. Make sure that's on your calendar. And I just want to do a quick reminder about Acumax. Every client of ours has 10 assessments that you can give out, whether you're going to give it out to your client, whether you're going to give it out to your team, use it for recruiting or leadership. This is an amazing tool, and we use it all the time internally here at Cultivate Advisors. If you haven't used your 10 yet, be sure you use those. And if it's something that you need more of, you want to dive deeper into recruiting or deeper into leadership and understanding the psychographic information of people, feel free to reach out to understand more about how to upgrade to ActiMax Pro and all the additional reporting and insights that you get with that as well. Could be something great to learn about your clientele as well if you're going to build out your website based on that. So, and again, we use it internally all the time, and we're hiring. So if you want to help us find a future advisor, if you know somebody that would be a great business advisor based on your experience with us, send them our way, and you'll receive a Cultivate referral gift for helping us. We have a great culture and a great team over here, and we would love your help in helping us find the next business advisor. So let's talk about the roundtables here. We're going to take the worksheet that we started. Let's go out into the roundtables. When we exit the session here, you'll see the roundtables. You can do one-on-one networking, but we encourage you to go sit down in a group. I've highlighted here how it looks. Try the 2-second test. Okay, sit with a group and say, hey, here's the heading and subheading that we just kind of built out. What do you get from this? What are you seeing? What am I missing? Share and discuss your persona, your benefits, your customer journey with each other. Use it as a chance against other entrepreneurs to help work together and go, hey, what am I missing here? How could we present this stronger? How can we present this better? And if this is your area of expertise, like we know it is for some of us on this call, feel free to share. This is your time to shine and help your fellow entrepreneurs in this field, as they will help you in their area of expertise when the time is right as well. So go to the roundtables after this. We appreciate you being here. I'm going to end this session here in a moment, and we'll stick around and we'll answer some questions in the chat if you need any direction from there. Otherwise, thanks for taking the time to join us on our webinar today, and we will see you again next month. For how to get to a roundtable, when you exit the session here, you will be taken into the lounge, and the roundtables will be right in front of you, and you'll see people joining into those tables in there. All right, everyone.